The Wild Palm Beaches is brought to you by Discover the Palm Beaches.
Wildlife conservation is a necessary contribution to the preservation of Mother Earth. Wildlife conservation is the practice of protecting plant and animal species and their habitats. As part of the world's ecosystems, wildlife provides balance and stability to nature's processes. The goal of wildlife conservation is to educate people and ensure the survival of these species. On this episode of the Wild Palm Beaches, we're going to get up close and personal with capybaras, sloths, anteaters, lemurs, tortoises, and more. Oh!
Ecotourism is big business in Palm Beach County. From lions to loggerheads, our resident wildlife population is one of the things that makes the Palm Beaches a special place to visit. Aquatic adventures let you see our majestic sea turtles and tropical fish in living color, while our zoos, wildlife parks, and natural areas give you an up-close look at everything from rhinos to alligators. It is here that nature is on full display. It's like nowhere else in the world. As one of the largest counties east of the Mississippi, we have lots of room to explore the wild animal encounters that are seemingly endless in the Palm Beaches. Ever wished you could swim with dolphins or get up close to a manatee? In the Palm Beaches, you can. From the Florida Everglades and the Loxahatchee River to the Intracoastal Waterway and the Atlantic Ocean, take a walk on the wild side and discover the great outdoors in a tropical paradise. Join me, James Currie, as we discover the Wild Palm Beaches.
Have you ever wondered what happens when an animal roadside attraction closes, or when a cash-strapped animal dealer has too much inventory to feed, or when a cute sulcata tortoise outgrows its owner's enclosure and becomes a 235-pound leviathan? Here in Western Palm Beach County, Florida, the Wellington Conservation Center is home to unwanted, abandoned, and injured animals. And they specialize in conservation of South American exotics that are endangered from habitat loss and poaching.
So we are a rescue and rehome facility for exotic animals. We take in all sorts of reptiles, birds, small mammals mostly. We take in animals from all sorts of things, whether they're someone's pet that grew out of their space, they no longer wanted to pay the vet bills, so they give us a call. We try and help out all the animals that we can. Even when we can't place them here ourselves, we'll try and find them a place somewhere that they can take the animal. But we're all about providing healthy, happy homes for the animals for the rest of their life. So we guarantee a spot for that animal until they pass over the Rainbow Bridge. And then we also have conservation breeding programs for 4 species here. So we are trying to breed black and white ruffed lemurs, red ruffed lemurs, southern tamanduas, and 2-toed sloths. My favorite part about working with animals is that every day is different. You never go through the same day more than once, which keeps things interesting. And the animals are always going to teach you something that you didn't know the day before. It's also really special to see the connection that especially kids have with the animals on the tours. I'm always impressed by how young kids can sometimes have more faith in the animals and trust than their adults do. So it's really fun to see. And especially with the summer camp that we run, and then we're trying to put in a petting zoo and an aviary. So we're all about getting the kids in with the animals just so that the next generation has that interaction, and then hopefully they can inspire people to do things like we do here. You're not going to find a subtropical climate in the United States that's better than the Palm Beaches. In the Palm Beaches, you can have animals that you can't really display properly in further north states. So in Palm Beach, you can have the exotics that like hot weather, like the lemurs, the sloths, the foxes that we have here. They don't do too well in northern facilities just because you have to keep them in smaller areas. You have to have heat lamps on them constantly. In Florida, generally speaking, you can keep them outside with little to no temperature assistance. It's a really special place. Some of these animals here, they're perfect for this environment and they're not perfect for anywhere else. So especially the capybaras, I mean, their native range used to include Florida. It's a really, really good place, especially for the warmer climate animals. So we do tours every day except for Tuesday. They're at 10:30 and 12:30 and 2:30. It's about an hour and 15 minutes and it's highly interactive. So you get to feed and pet the bull, feed and pet the pony, you pet the capybaras, pet the porcupines, pet the anteater, feed the lemurs, pet the sloths. The tours are good for all ages. I've had little kids as young as 2 years old come in here and do everything that we offer. I've even have elderly people come and tell me that it's the most they've learned about anything in their entire life. So it's good for everybody. Even if you don't like animals, people still come and enjoy everything that we have to offer. Come visit us at Wellington Conservation Center and get wild in the Palm Beaches.
The Wild Palm Beaches is brought to you by Discover the Palm Beaches.
By conserving wildlife, we're ensuring that future generations enjoy the natural world and the incredible species within it.
It's time to get wild in the Palm Beaches.
The Wellington Conservation Centre is home to a variety of animals from all across the world. Occupants range from rare 4-pound Saharan pale foxes to a 2,200-pound orphan named KJ, who is perhaps the world's most affectionate Hereford steer.
So we call KJ our 2,000-pound dog because you can pet him like a dog, he sheds like a dog, and he slobbers like a dog. So KJ is somewhere between 2,000 and 2,200 pounds. He's a mix, so he's half Black Angus and then half Hereford cattle. He doesn't look anything at all like a Black Angus. Those guys are jet black. He looks a whole lot of Hereford, so that's this red-brown color, and then the curly hair that he has on top of his head. He is a bull, even though he doesn't have horns, so horns are a genetic trait. If the mom and dad don't have horns, the kids aren't going to have horns. He's definitely a fan favorite, even though he's not the most exotic animal. He's super friendly, very unique. People can't believe that he's the way he is, even though he's a bull. So he's definitely up there in terms of favorites. This is a Brazilian porcupine, so they look a little bit different than the porcupines that you typically see at zoos. Most of the time you see the North American or the African crested. Both those species live on the ground. These guys, they live in the trees and they just have quills on their body, which the other ones usually have quills and hair. So it makes them look a little bit different, but they're adapted for the tree lifestyle. The one obviously big feature here is the tail on them. So it is prehensile, which just means they can grab things with it. They'll put most of their body weight on that tail if they need to. Most of the time, they just use it to anchor themselves into the trees. Nocturnal, so not very good vision. The nose is going to be how they get around. So it's really, really big, really bulbous, and then they have sensory hairs all over their body, and they can just feel their way around in the dark. No porcupine shoots their quills out of their body, so what these guys do is they roll up into a ball, and then if anything were to bother them, they just puff up, and then if anything tried again, they'd get a face full of quills, and not the actual porcupine itself. They grow and shed their quills like we grow and shed hair. So they're usually all over the place here on the ground. The outside is the side that has the barbs on it. So if you were to get pricked by one, it ends up staying in your skin. Luckily, these guys, they don't have really strong barbs, so they can pull out pretty easily. The other species, the African and North American, those guys have really strong barbs. So it'll take about 10 pounds of pressure to remove those. So it's definitely not something you want to get quilled by. This is Bonnie, so this is our younger one. She's about 4 years old, and then Pickles is in the back. We got them both from the same guy. He's an exotic importer. They come over with hundreds of animals at a time, and when they get left with one or two of a species, they find it hard to sell to zoos, so they'll start looking for private buyers and sellers. They're actually pretty friendly, so on the tours, people can come in here and pet them. They don't mind. They're really nice animals.
The Wild Palm Beaches is brought to you by Discover the Palm Beaches.
This is Taco. He's part of a pairing we have here called Taco Bell. This is a southern tamandua, also known as a lesser anteater. So they're the smaller type, and they're going to spend most of their time in the trees. So we got another prehensile tail on them, but this one's a lot stronger. So they can put all of their body weight on the tail and hang from it alone, which is the only animal we have at the farm that can do that. So it is pretty cool. The front arms on these guys, that's going to be where they have their major tool. So you can see they have one really big middle finger, and that's what they use for everything that they do. So all the tree branches in this enclosure, they're stripped of their bark. There's holes all over the ground every morning, and that's just from these guys going to work. But the forearms on them are strong enough that if there were any insects in the branches, Taco would be able to rip them in half and get to the meat of the tree. And these guys, they're eating 2,000 to 3,000 insects a day, which is a lot, and they always leave something left over, so they never eat all of your insects, which is why you don't want to have them as your pest control. But it's a way for them to farm the insects, so they leave something behind, and then they know that they can go back at a later date and they'd be able to get another snack. So it's pretty smart. This is Julia and then her baby. They're two-toed sloths, so you can tell by the front, not by the back. They've got 2 toes in the front, and then they're gonna have 3 toes in the back. Obviously, a very slow-moving animal, so the top speed on them is around 0.93 miles per hour. Typically, they're moving around at about 0.19, that's kind of their cruising speed. But on top of being slow movers, they're gonna have the slowest digestive system out of any mammal. We're talking 40 to 50 days from eating it to excreting it. So they only have to poop once a week. So she's got a 10-month-old on her right now. Those babies are with their mom for the first 10 to 12 months of their life, and they're completely dependent on them. So you're always gonna find them on or near the mom. The first month when they're born, that's the most important for them development-wise. When they're born, the feet and hands are fully formed. The eyes are wide open, so they're immediately able to grab onto the mom's fur. What they can't do is hang upside down yet, so you only ever see them on the chest or on their stomach, which is also where they nurse, so it works out. After about a month or so, they're completely done nursing, and then they start to steal the food out of mom's mouth, and that's how they learn what is safe to eat in the wild, because if the mom is eating it, they know it's gonna be safe for them later on. And then shortly after that, they'll start doing everything on their own. These are the capybara, and they got the name capybara because it means master of the grasses. So it's pretty fitting for them because this is the world's largest rodent, and they're naturally grazers. They're also semi-aquatic animals, so the fur is really wiry, it kind of feels like a broom. The feet are also webbed up to the middle knuckle, and those are both water adaptations, so they're gonna do everything they can in the water: eat, sleep, poop, mate, pee in the water. The way that they sleep is they just keep their nose up, and then they're gonna submerge the rest of their bodies, and then they can fully submerge themselves for up to about 5 minutes at a time. The biggest capybara on record was a female at 201 pounds, so they can get almost twice this weight, which is crazy to think about. So this is Daisy. She's a black and white rough lemur baby that was born here May 18th, 2021. This is one of our conservation breeding programs, so the black and whites are a critically endangered species. There's only about 1,000 to 10,000 left in the wild, and the population is declining. They are native to Madagascar, as are all lemurs, and they floated over to the island about 65 million years ago. When they got there, it was pretty much uninhabited, so they took over. So there's over 100 different species of lemurs now. They all look different. This is actually going to be the second largest in their family, and they are the loudest lemur overall. So they make a call, it's called their roar shriek, super loud, super obnoxious. They usually use it to warn of predators, but our lemurs typically will do it to get attention. So you might hear it when you come here for a tour. It's the loudest lemur, and it's the second loudest primate in the world. So their calls can be heard up to 2.5 kilometers away.
The Wild Palm Beaches is brought to you by Discover the Palm Beaches.
It's time to get wild in the Palm Beaches.
Oh yeah, let's get it, baby.
Hey everybody, I'm Benji Studt with Palm Beach County's Environmental Resources Management. We are out here today in the amazing Lake Worth Lagoon estuary.
Absolute favorite place in this county, I swear.
And we're here with Kylie Ariati from our crew. And specifically, we're out at one of our newest restoration projects, this Mangrove Island Tarpon Coves. These are mangrove islands that we've built. They're home to listed shorebird species that are nesting every year. But Kylie, why are we standing out here today?
So we're standing out here today. We have a really special project going on. We have Coniston Middle coming out to join us for a living shoreline planting right over here at Munso Park. They're gonna get their feet wet, their hands dirty, and hopefully we'll get some critters in their hand and be able to show them what's living here in these habitats in Lake Worth Lagoon.
So today is all about connection with this amazing estuary. So to connect these kids, we need to go find these critters, right, Kylie?
Yeah, let's see what we can find out here. I'm already ADD looking around.
Let's get to work. Right behind me is this really, really cool kind of exemplification of the success of restoration here in Lake Worth Lagoon. And what I'm talking about is the American oyster catcher. So this is a super charismatic shorebird. They are threatened here in the state of Florida. The reason that they've been struggling is because of habitat loss. So these guys naturally would nest on the beach and on sandy beaches in the estuaries here. And this is the restoration success story, right? If we build these habitats, these animals will return. After decades of absence, they are back here in Lake Worth Lagoon. And they're not just a joy for us, but all the residents that get to see these restoration sites right on their doorstep.
So we have a seine net here. We're hoping to catch some critters with it. Alicia and I are gonna be pulling it through the shallow water here as the tide goes out, hoping to capture fish, maybe some crabs. Who knows what we might come across here on Tarpon Cove.
All right, so right here, this is kind of an example of the abundance of these restoration projects. These are all fiddler crabs, and these are just a few from the thousands and thousands that are walking around these islands in the intertidal zone. I love these days. I love these days because when I was your age, these days were my favorite days. The days when I can go outside and explore.
These guys are killing it right now.
So we are planting red mangroves and Spartina grasses, and here in Lake Worth Lagoon, this is going to be a habitat, but also protection for these storm waves when we have our hurricane season. So we're really reinforcing what's otherwise a concrete wall with a better natural barrier.
To work with all levels of the community, from the city to the county commission to city commission to the neighbors, trying to educate them of the importance of greening up our shoreline. You have to work with agencies to get the grants, you have to work with permitting agencies to get permits here, work with contractors to get it actually built, but the best part is today, planting these mangroves.
You know, 6th grade has shown that this is the time for them to get out. It gives them a purposefulness, that there's meaning, and then when you can talk about what you're learning, it makes more sense. You know, in the classroom, we do this by putting popsicle sticks in a tub of sand, and it's really not the same as coming out and planting the actual tree yourself, because here, as they plant, they're seeing the little fiddler crabs run around, they're finding bits of shell, and so it's just much more meaningful about what the environment is and all the different things that you can find in West Palm Beach.
Some of these trees are the first tree they've ever planted, so it's super awesome to be out here actually seeing, you know, hands get dirty, memories being made, and ultimately seeing how these trees will impact the health of our lagoon.
Just the experience of going out and getting your feet wet and getting sand between your toes is priceless. I cannot stress that enough. It makes them feel like you can go out and do things in the world, even if it's beyond science.
They are doing great. We caught lots of little checker puffer fish, some comb jellies.
Well, you know, Palm Beach County is so rich with natural resources. You can't take it for granted that our students are getting out and seeing nature firsthand like this. We want them to, you know, as part of their education throughout our system, to have these type of experiences. And with that experience and exposure, you know, will spark an interest. And you can see the kids really get engaged. They've been practicing for this in the classroom and doing some gardening around the school. But to get out here with this crew and do some really meaningful improvement to our ecosystem is just incredible.
They're doing great. Our kids are seining. They're just learning all these new skills of how we monitor our estuaries, how we capture different things like pufferfish, jellyfish, different species of crab. It's been awesome.
I think the word community is very important, and I think the word school community are very important to us, and it shows our local community and our school community that our kids are invested in making a difference and improving the environment here for everybody to enjoy.
For me, engaging like this with our backyard is what it's all about, right? In my opinion, if we really want to save the environment for you guys and you guys save it for the next generation, we've got to understand it. We've got to be engaged with it. This is nature, right? We are nature. We're part of.